Hey everyone, it's UpHeroX99 and welcome back to another DSP video. I'm going this part you're hearing first is kind of me realizing I muted my mic for a bit, and you're gonna probably hearing a lot more of what I was talking about, but I'm gonna keep this part brief here. What I was missing out in the first video, the last video I did back last year. Phil played Lost Judgment. Took a long time to beat that game. He wasn't playing a card game, he played a golf game, he played some monkey ball. A lot of stuff was happening, and I will be talking about the Halloween stream a little bit. I'll be talking about the skipping a little bit, December a little bit, and then I go a little bit more hard on the January stuff, on everything going on. So you'll be seeing a lot more, you'll be hearing a lot more like anger and like a lot of anger. Like I actually do sound angry, but not in like a I'm so annoyed by Phil, but I go a little bit more hard on what's going on. So you'll be hearing a little bit more what's going on there. Sorry this part looks like I'm pausing a little bit here, but I will edit this out a little bit more so it would look the transition to actually not looking like I'm still one spot will be better. So you'll come back to the next part, which will be talking about the Halloween stream and beyond. Sorry about that, I had to cough for a second. So let's flash forward all the way to the Halloween stream. The big stream Phil was hyping up, the big Halloween stream he does every year. And what was his costume? How do I say this bluntly? He was wearing a Cookie Monster hoodie. I wish I was kidding. He was wearing a Cookie Monster hoodie. And I don't think he even hit his goal. And most of the games he didn't play. If you want to get my better take about the Halloween stream, I will link you to Dante Crisis late night cast where I actually got to be in the chat. Not only the chat, but also the talking discussion, where I go into a little bit more of what I want to say. So everything I want to say there will be there. I'll have a link in the description for that video and where I am. So I do recommend watching the cast if you do want to, because I will probably have an episode where I'll be talking again of recent things happening, what's going on in the gaming sphere, and probably maybe Phil related, give or take. But after that, this is really started to see Phil blowing up more and more. Because right after Halloween, he had one video where he basically said I was broke. He started really getting more angry. After Keemstar said what he said, Phil really was trying to prove he was successful. So he started to have all these empty boxes behind him of all the purchases he had. Yet he wasn't quite broke. His Switch box, but he barely plays Switch games. He pretty much now craps on the PS5 now, and now he pretty much loves his Xbox Series X. He pretty much is an Xbox fan, and never cared for the other consoles. He has his neck phone, which he's been whining about getting for a while. He has these little figures of Mega Man and Rio. It really kind of showed the Phil trying to have success, yet he mocks other people who has this kind of thing. And by the way, if you're kind of wondering what's up with the gameplay, I was trying to find out how to get through this, so this tries a little bit of a pause. I'll probably have it edited out a little bit, so you won't probably be seeing this you probably will be seeing this once I fix this. So let me continue. Also, this is where Phil started to do his pre-stream podcast. It's him trying to. He recently started not having his usual slides. Now he just talks without the slides of everything, and he's then he starts turning it into a podcast. He always used the term podcast, but he thinks he does, but it really started to get to the point where now he thinks he has a podcast. And the only thing he really did for these pre-stream podcasts was have a overlay for when he did these pre-streams, but he doesn't have a thumbnail for them. So you always find a weird face Phil has. It really has a weird face Phil has, and it really shows how low effort it really has become. And we're seeing the low effort really hit. So that was October, November, and Phil having that outrage, Phil being kind of showing he's toxic, he's still there, and at a time of going into, I would say, going into October, and I guess all the way to January, Phil was playing Lost Judgment, and oh my god, pardon my French, but that playthrough was obviously, and it's been confirmed that it's been supported by a lot of tips, but he dragged that on. He was uncomfortable with that game. It has gone to the point that we are seeing Phil, like, he takes all this seriously, He takes all this Japanese culture and stuff so seriously. This didn't happen before when he was Panda. It got worse when he was a cat, It got this bad. And the first part is he did almost a month on the school stories arc. And again, I haven't played Lost Judgment. I'm still working on Judgment. I don't know why he took so long on that. He was dragging on and complaining about all this culture. He's like, he judges Japanese culture from what he doesn't understand. He gets what he thinks of Japanese culture from, TV, all that. He doesn't understand it. He's taking all this too seriously. It's like, when he met Kat, this really changed. This really made him turn into this complete and total insecure dumbass, So we got all that happen. And in the end, he's skipping all these games, and he won't do this game because he wants to be a variety streamer, but he skipped Tales of Rise. He skips Bird Dynasty Shine Pro, which did sell well, despite all the complaints of that game. And latest Arceus, it's going to do well. It's not going to bring in the people who wants this big chain of Pokemon that they want in all their life. They should have left out of Gen 1. They should have left out of Gen 4. It's not going to happen, I'm just saying, because it really does show it, And so, December, Phil court decorated, and it really, we still have him having these slip-ups of talking about his mom, but he says cat, and, we still see him, he's trying to catch that whole success he had with Pro Jared. We're still seeing that coming to fruition, and I'll get to that too later. And we are seeing Phil really, really, really show that he hasn't changed, and how much Twitch really hurt him. Because we had a Dspgaming where he talks about all that happened, and it really shows he has no plan, that he's still planning, that he really thinks that he's the only person who talks about the idea of gifted memberships. It was really clear that Phil was trying to turn Twitch into YouTube, because he still talked about the apocalypse that happened in 2017 or 2016. And the fact that he still talks about that really does show that he is still upset about it. Yet he could have improved his work, he could have improved all that. I'll get to all of that when he was talking about the day of 19th. It really is starting to show he is level 1, and he won't do anything to improve it, So, he also, of course, he was also playing Forza, so another game. I think he was also adding another old game to his roster. And I know he did finish Life is Strange a little bit later, and he finally did play Metroid Dread and Guardians of the Galaxy sometime later. And it really kind of is that Phil really wants to talk about variety. And also, his feud to PewDiePie as always, because he wants to keep saying PewDiePie is irrelevant, but he's still relevant. It's kind of like how people want to say this stream series is not relevant anymore. It's not relevant, or try to stay relevant, or try to think it's still relevant. Yeah, they're still around. It's kind of sad how how some people used to like that streaming services. You even got perks from them to how you completely change. You know what they're saying? You really have changed, and it's sad. Like, but of course, I'm not gonna call the person out. I'm too nice. I won't say names for this person. That's your opinion. That's fine. But then, of course, we had the Game Awards, and Phil, he gave his Games of the Year, and do I have to say how safe? Also, how I remember how I mentioned how he kind of locked down his Twitter. Phil's Twitter shows that he just wants his Twitter to be an echo chamber where he could beg, have all this control, and no one can say anything to him. Yet you can't comment to him. You could retweet to him, comment back. But he had most of us blocked. But it really showed that Phil was just begging, telling people to swing by, and it really started to show as we go into next year. So yeah, Phil, he's still complaining about Last of Us 2 like everyone else does. He was complaining about the Game Awards like everyone else does. Yep, Phil is really just doing absolutely nothing to improve where he is now. He's still level 1. He's not improving his content or anything. And I will get to what he was ranting about in 2019 after this video, or what he was saying. It really has shown that Phil has not improved and he's doing nothing. The biggest thing that Phil really was doing, I think, in December was obviously, he was obviously trying to finish up a lot of these playthroughs around January, so he could do his end of year awards, which people think that people give a crap about them. They don't. They're terrible. He mostly fence sits. He doesn't give very good reviews. He takes too long, and the clips he picks out are terrible. Like, I am the one I didn't like. The fact that he did a very bad job of presenting what Kingdom Hearts 3 was about, and the same way how he was complaining about Death Stranding and and Last of Us 2, Phil and everyone else complaining about Last of Us 2 and Neo and Naughty Dog. I mean, well, I'll get to him later. It really showed he and a lot of people are so hurt by that game, and you know it. You all know it, and it's sad. But Phil was the one I feel like showed that kind of, I get you love the first game, and then you hate the second game. That's fine. But damn, do I think people are hurt by that game? But that's beside the point. So, of course, Phil had, he had user decorations, since he has user decorations, and I know he still has some, he has some sold nights a few times, where he start doing a lot of these beg tweets. Like, now that we know where all this, and then every time Phil does hit a some money, I always check Twitter, and he gets another new card added. I've noticed that I have not seen any new cards added for a couple of days so far. So maybe he hasn't been getting the cards he wants to his roster for a couple of days. We'll think about that. So, of course, we did anything. I don't remember what Phil was really talking about in December. But, I have to recheck his pre-stream podcasts. I really don't hate the fact he does. And the fact he also does these... And the fact... I will talk about this when we get to January. The fact that... I'll talk about it now. Phil is still putting out too many videos for people to have. And he wasn't even on saying he babysits them. And he's trying to get comments onto them. We'll get to January stuff. But he puts videos out of order. He has his pre-stream podcast and daily rap not in the right order, and all these videos are out of order. And it really shows that he doesn't really put a lot of effort into his business, and he wonders why when we get to the real actual number of people who actually watch his content. So Phil, we finally reached to the start of the new year. Phil finally finished his Lost Judgment, and I guess he was still playing. What other games was he playing? Well, he finally finished that game, finally, because he took him too long to finish that. It was still a lot of complaining, about a lot of the stuff that go on in that game. He was taking all that too seriously, and then we come to his end of year stuff, and it was terrible. Like, his picks were terrible and really kind of show, and it really kind of showed that Phil really does not really any enjoyment of video games. Now, he at least tries to. And then you see the little horror boy. You can see that we now know that how Phil really rates his games. He rates his games how much money he gets. If he had a lot of tips for them, he rates them the way he wants. If they don't, there's both disappointing games. And Phil did miss a few games. He didn't mention. He forgot a few games he didn't mention. And of course, he skipped a lot of games he didn't talk about. And the fact that he put Hades on his list, even though it only came out in 2020. He was also trying to he was at the time trying to doing the definitive edition of Grand Theft Auto will get me more views. He was playing a bad remaster. Say what you will about Sonic Colors, at least that's trying to get fixed. And there's a lot of drama with the Kingdom Hearts Cloud version ports that it's just going to be basically you might want to not be notified about Kingdom Hearts and Cloud versions for probably the next couple of months. This is going to basically be a very, 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 very boring people trying to basically get a lot of traction about this. I mean, it's not gonna get them fixed anytime faster, people. But that's beside the point. So, his choices were terrible, and Phil wanted to retire the King of Hate, but it really showed he did a very bad job doing it. One, he could have easily just said, hey, this account, this account is not gonna be out of use now. He didn't have to rename it. He didn't have to do all that. He didn't try to rename his site, but it still has an URL. He really tried to distance himself from the King of Hate and all that. He tried to rebrand. He tried to open up the comments. But it really should clear that Phil is not seeing the growth that he thinks he's seeing, and he's still at the real number that we know he has. So December was really the month where Phil really was trying to clap at people for no apparent reason. Pokemon and Twitch, obviously. That was all by last month, about last week of the time of the video. And then more recent was Troy Baker and NFTs. I don't even sigh for here. I just getting tired of all this NFT talk. Ever since they started last year. It's all just NFTs. People go after anyone who talks about NFTs, getting mad about NFTs. It really has shown that people have nothing else to do but getting upset about it. And that's fine, that's okay. But it's like, are we really going to have nothing else to talk about that isn't just NFTs? Are we going to just talk? Is that it? Are we just really going to have disagreements and talks about NFTs? Yes, but what Troy Baker did, and this group who are trying to sell the voice of a voice actor is bad. The only reason why Phil went at this because he hates Troy Baker. He tries to praise him, but then he also hates him. He calls him an asshole and stuff like that. And all because he hates his success. He hates to be popular. That's why he went at him. And so again, Phil is trying to catch that pro Jared stuff. Again, same thing with the G4 thing that happened. He has no understanding that. Phil is trying too hard to do all of these things because he's trying to get that, catch that lightning in the bottle again of like popularity. He's doing a bad job at it. So that is really kind of where we have to talk. I gotta talk about what if that Phil is never going to hit to 200K because his channel is dead. And what do I mean? Thanks to Mercat, who found us on Reddit. Hopefully I will link to his Twitter on that one. We found the actual analytics to Phil's account. So basically, Phil abandoned 2 decently active channels for a very dead one. His KO Gaming account, his KO Gaming channel, KO channel, it still had views a lot, and his vlog channel had views, which had a lot. And it really comes to the point that Phil is really not realizing that he has only 3% of active subscribers. I would say 1% is us, 2% is us, obviously detractors, and 1% is his actual fans. So I would say 2% is his fans and 1% is us, maybe. But it really does show that Phil really does not have any real support. He lacks any support anymore. And it really, really shows that he's still level 1. He doesn't get why he's not improving. And we are seeing this. Phil wants YouTube to have all these improvements that he had on Twitch. He wants YouTube to be Twitch. He wants all these benefits that he was on Twitch. He doesn't want to work for it. He wants to wait for it. Yeah, he wants to compare himself to a blue collar job. Phil has not worked a job in his life. He never put effort into the jobs he done. He put no effort into any of his channels. He put no effort into improving his channels. He done nothing to better his channels. He done nothing to do anything to get to any real improvement to them. All Phil could have done, and how Phil could have done, was actually improve his channel. He could have improved Dspgaming. He could have improved actually giving people what they want. He gives no real incentive to be a membership. He also locks down his chat, so you can't talk, so you can't reply to him. If that you subscribe to him in 24 hours. He wonders why he had no support. He wonders why he had no real comments. And yet he wants to say he's successful. He's an idiot. He's a dumbass. He does not get that he's failing. We are seeing a man who is looking like he is dying on the inside and the outside. He looks terrible. He's not really spending real time with his soulmate. It's very clear that he looks terrible. He's looking worse. Yeah, he wants to get all these improvements before he does any real improvements to his own channel. He needs to understand he is not going to see those 200 subs. He's not going to see those memberships. He's not going to see any of these improvements that he wants on Twitch. He is really seeing the fact that he's not going to see improvement. And yeah, like I said, people like Raven Daughter, people Super Crazy, people like Mercat, all these people who have been coming up last year have been saying everything we've been saying. He's sick. He's a melted candle. He is basically turned to a goddamn Hitler. Besides, Hitler has a done small coat. He is not going to improve. Keemstar is right. He is level 1. He has not left the first level. He's not left the menu screen. He's stuck on the channel dashboard. Well, console dashboard. His ass patting of Microsoft, his hate for obviously he wrote for Sony and also big hate for Nintendo. Phil wants to basically think Phil has no improvement to his channel. He has no improvement to anything. He is stuck. He has nowhere to go. He's not going to do anything to improve himself. And where are you going to put him? What is he going to do now? He is going to complain and whine when he turns 40. He doesn't see those 200K. he is gonna be upset, and he's gonna blame us. He's gonna blame you two. No, Phil, you are your own failure. You couldn't improve. You couldn't do anything, and that is why you're level 1. That's what Keemstar said. And yet everyone has all this money and all this fame, yet you hate the content creator. You hate the fact that you do all these gimmicks, but yet you do all the same gimmicks. You wore a goddamn Pikachu hat. You have no pride anymore. You have nothing left anymore. And that's sad. It's just like my thumbnail. You are level 1. Phil was gonna be level 1. And that's where he's gonna be forever. So, as we go into this year, look, I may said on Dante's video and at the beginning and the end, let me rephrase it better. We are seeing Phil is not going to see any real improvement. That's his end. Because he's not going to do anything to improve himself. His marriage is obviously in shambles. I doubt Kat cares for him. And all the weird stuff we found about Jenna, which came out I think in November, like it really does say a lot. Phil is sick. Phil is not seeing improvement. Phil looks terrible. Phil obviously is drinking himself up at night. He sits on Twitter. He sits on his WWE champions. He sits doing absolutely nothing. He has no hobbies. He has no interests. He doesn't watch TV. He doesn't listen to music. He doesn't play video games off screen. He does nothing. He does absolutely nothing. And that is why he is level 1. He has nothing that interests people. He lives on Twitter. He has to read headlines and then has to interject things and make it about himself. That's why he jumped to the Pokemon stuff. That's why he jumped to Troy Baker. That's why he's trying to praise this whole Microsoft acquisition stuff, when really they're just buying stuff, but they're not doing anything with it. Say what you will about any time when Disney or any time an anime company does something like this, at least they're trying to actually improve, or at least trying to build a brand. What has Microsoft done? They just bring more games onto their Game Pass. That's it. And people want Sony to do that? What's gonna happen if you saw what happened when when people got mad about the Nintendo online services and the expansion pack? You could probably have the same thing. It doesn't go well now. And I'm not saying that Nintendo or Sony are doomed or anything. Nintendo's still doing well. Sony is still doing well. Just because they lost 3 million, just 300 billion, 30 billion, that's only 30 billion of the 100 billion they already have. And at the same time, it's just because they only lost one Western company. And yet Phil wants to ass pat them. And I may sound a bit angry, but that's because because this is really showing that Phil is failing. He's not doing anything new. And that's sad. He could have gotten somewhere. He had all the chances, but he failed. He could be playing these games. Instead, what is he doing now? He's replaying Resident Evil 4 again. He's playing Skyrim again. He's still playing the Lost Judgment, even though he finished that game. He's trying to do all the bone. He's trying to drag that game out more because somehow Slayer or someone is still paying for these games. There's no improvement. If he's so strapped for money, do something new. Do something actually worthwhile. Stop with these same gimmicks. And that's why he's level 1. So I hope this video was pretty good. I think I said enough. Sorry I kind of came off a bit angry about this, or I'm annoyed with Phil, but it really does show that he's not doing anything new, and it really is sad. So I think let's switch gears, and I'm going to talk about what I'm up to going into 2022. Well, for one thing, I'm trying to catch up on a lot of my playthroughs I missed out on. School was kind of mostly keeping me occupied, and also anime. I got into JoJo by one of my recent videos, so I'm watching JoJo. I'm putting a little time on that. I'm trying to catch up on finishing all my 2021 shows soon. Hopefully. I doubt it. But I will have All-Star Nexus up and they'll be all hopefully be all the way up to February. I will have a decent idea when I want to upload my Genshin Impact videos. I will kind of get back to Final Fantasy VII Remake. I finished the Honeybee Inn portion, so I'm at the sewers. But once that's done, I'm working on Kingdom Hearts. I've actually finally got the ultimate weapon in Kingdom Hearts 3, so I'm proud. I am working on an EX mode. Playthrough for that, so it's gonna be me with the ultimate weapon, just replaying for the game again, which is gonna probably again serving kind of a new versions of my problem mode playthrough, because when I was playing those, I had more shorter videos, so this one's more longer. It's mostly also 100%ing a bit because I'm looking for all the treasure chests. I'm looking for all the lucky emblems in the video, so I don't have to do it. I don't have to try to do it too much, but it gives me something to do. And that's kind of really up to. I will also hopefully be going to. I'm gonna be also hopefully be going to MomoCon and Week Atlantis soon. When those are out, I was hoping to go to another JojoCon, but that got canceled. Hopefully next year, again. I'm also, doing things. I'm trying to catch up on I'm trying to catch up on a lot of stuff. I am trying to play new games. I'm also trying to get some more file. I'm trying to get some more space for my games. I need to get a 4 terabyte, and I'll hopefully have enough. I'll probably save space for more games, which I plan to get soon. So that's really it, and hope you really enjoyed this video. Sorry that I kind of came out more angry, but then again, I think that a lot of detractors are never calm, and they always let their kind of words show more, like as myself as well. So I'll see you next time for hopefully another DSP video or any kind of video I'll talk about, and I'll see you next time. Take care and bye.